are fucking fun, pal. Factor that fucking in to your drug fucking offensive type health fucking warning. There ain't a lot that's fun, pal. Old age and school and dreams of a life that will never be. Sexless nights, wasted schemes. Your horizon still receding, speeding hope that's fruitless. Sudden cliff and skidding, then descent to twisted rest.
Sacred temple of the Emperor Buddha, serene and total peace.
They're not fun.
Anyway,
I'm trying to understand how when we last hung out, how we were just like both in full drinking mode. Like, what?
I was
time
very,
it
very drunk.
so drunk. But it's like, but our times are so different. Like, what must it have been? It must have been like
It was at least a year ago
or something.
Yeah.
Hey?
It was at least a year ago.
Yeah. Fuck, that's crazy. It's crazy. And it would have been like you got home from work or something, and then I was drinking at like midnight, something like that. Such stupid.
No, it was all good. And I was drinking fucking lychee liqueurs and then here we go. But
That
fucking.
was insane. That was an absolute.
but then again, it's like in the last year, like everything's kind of fucking changed drastically everywhere.
So much has changed. Like the entire landscape of like what we're into and what we do and what we both have been doing is completely crazy. How different it is.
It's fucking nuts, man. Like it's genuinely nuts. I mean, I might just talk on about Do Here's My Ring to start with, because like that's like for me watching that I'm like holy fuck, like this is like no ring in like Australia and shit, and I'm like I really want to fucking come to Australia and go and see a show, but I'm like how did all that come about for you guys, and like for you obviously doing commentary, which you do a very good job by the way.
Oh, thank you. That's very, very sweet of you. I'm still, finding my way. How did it come about? So, how it came about for me, I suppose, rewinds all the way back to the ICW Deathmatch Down Under crossover shows, the year previous, whatever it was. When I was there, so in Perth, I know of the wrestling scene and I've been to shows and stuff, but I didn't really know anybody, a smattering of people, not part of the scene in any way, right? Like I was just doing stuff, on the internet based around deathmatch and things like that I liked, and there wasn't really any of that. Well, there wasn't any of that before. And so that's why my support of Deathmatch Down Under was so huge, because it instantly caught my interest as something different and something that nobody was touching, and was touching on the stuff that I myself was really into. That's where I reached out to Joel, had him on the show. He was my first ever wrestler interview I ever did. And then we just became friends. So I think because I have covered Deathmatch Down Under so much, people thought I was sort of involved in the company in some way.
I thought that'd start with as well.
yeah, exactly. But it would really, I'm just a fan and a friend, and I'm just about supporting them, and I like to support the things that I think are cool, and that's just it. If it catches my interest and I'm into it, then I'm just about it. And when I went over that show, I briefly met Michelle K. Hasluck, who is a Perth wrestler. She hadn't been active for a while. I knew who she was. I had seen her wrestle, but we only just met in passing. I had a chance to sit down and say g'day, because we'd kind of talked about maybe getting her on the show at some point, but just had a chance to say hello. And when I say that those shows like the ICW Australia shows just had like the most special vibe, like I can't even stress, like from the first show through, just everybody was in this like glow of like, I can't believe this is happening. And for me, I'm meeting so many people that I've interviewed and are friends online, and all my Melbourne friends and stuff. Everybody's partying, and it was just fucking killer, man. And so we met in the like glow of that briefly, And then that was it. And then we're like, yeah, we'll tee up or we'll do an interview at some time or whatever. And we got on, but that was all it was. Fast forward, start of this year, it came together really, really fast because I think the first Dude Where's My Ring show was in February. And I was contacted by Joel Bateman maybe 3-4 weeks before the first show kind of thing. And it was just like, hey, Michelle is going to give you a message. She's putting together a show. I think it'd be really cool if you guys work together. I know that you're from the Perth scene. Like, he knows I've been in bands and things like that. You could probably help her out, and also with some promotion and stuff. She's going to do like a no-ring show. And I was like, yeah, I'm all about it. That's cool. And when she reached out, it wasn't really like a hey sort of thing. I was just dropped into the group chat and sort of part of the family like immediately was how it felt. You know, it was just like, oh, Rafe's here and he's going to help us with some stuff. And how much I helped, I don't know, because they sort of already had a lot lined up. But I did help them, contact some bands, because on that first show we had a couple of bands play. One of the bands that I helped pulled out, so again, how much use I fucking was there, but but basically that kind of stuff, Plus I interviewed as many of the wrestlers as I could before the first show, because I just wanted everybody to get to know these people before it started, and they're just a great group of people. I didn't know any of them, sort of thing, and we just started chatting and getting to know each other. But then the first show is coming around, and I'm thinking, what have they organised for this? Because there was no talk in the chat or anything like that for commentary at all. I obviously have a lot of audio equipment and things like that. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. And then I noticed my good bud, Adam Parry, a.k.a. Mean Dean Olsen, had been added to the chat too, and he had come on as ring announcer. So I just said to Michelle, I was like, hey, have you organised anything for commentary? Because that's what Adam does. He's been doing it for like 16 plus years in Perth. EPW, everywhere. Like, you just see him, he has been doing it, and he's a good bud. And she's like, no, I was just going to wing it and we'll put it up on YouTube, we'll see where we go. And I'm like, well, I could just do it if you want. And she goes, oh yeah, if you could, you got the gear. So I go, yeah, I've got all the stuff, I'll just rock up, I'll just do it. She goes, yep. And then I'm like, okay, now I need to figure out how to do it. Because now
it's on you. You know what I mean? Now you've got to do this. Yeah, man, that's cool.
Yeah. It was full the most cardy thing I've ever done, right? I was like, you're all recording for wrestlers, just going, yeah, I can absolutely do that, brother. That was what I was going to do, right? And then I was like, fuck, okay, do I just run this solo, or am I smart about this, and do I reach out to Adam? Because I know he's the fucking best, right? And I'm like, he's going to carry me through this. I can just talk shit, and he will actually provide some kind of semblance of knowing what's going on. So I messaged him and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be doing commentary of this thing. I'd love to get you on. I'll be bringing all the gear and stuff. Are you happy to jump on? He's like, of course. Is that cool with Michelle? I go, yeah, I'll tee it up. So anyway, I tee it up. First show comes around, and I was pretty nervous, to be honest, because I was like, what if I just talk absolute fucking bullshit? Which I do. Yeah. I absolutely talk absolute bullshit. But I was like, I'm just going to have a couple of beers. I'm going to talk with my friend, and I'm just going to say all the kind of shit that I say when I watch wrestling in real life, when I sit with my wife, when I'm at a show, whatever. We just always talk shit and make jokes and stuff. And so that's just what I'm going to do. Hopefully I just want to put the talent over and hopefully not distract from that, but add to the vibe that is Dude, Where's My Ring? Because when I look to commentary, I look to guys like The Struggles, I look to Ron Nemi, like my favourite era of ICW No Holds Barred, the New Fierce City shows that Cass puts on. Yeah. I just wanted that kind of stuff, Kevin Gill in GCW, when I first got into it, it used to crack me up and I used to really enjoy it. So I just wanted to do something fun, and I really wanted to get the guys over, and I just wanted to do a good job and maybe get to do this again if I could turn it into a thing. So I rock up at the venue. I don't know fucking anybody, besides Michelle and the people I've spoken to on podcasts, but I don't know them in real life. You know what it's like? It's like rocking up to school for the first day, All these people have worked together around Perth forever. Yep. They're all friends, and everybody's kind of talking, and I'm trying to shake as many hands as I can, you know. Hey, you know, whatever, I know the rule. Yes, maybe, I don't know if I know the workers' handshake or whatever, but I'm just trying to be cool and just stay out of the way. And I'm looking around and everybody's kind of putting the show together and like, but I'm like, does anybody know what the fuck is going on? Like, what are we doing? Everybody's kind of everywhere and I don't know what's happening and doors are in fucking an hour, like what's happening? And when I say this fucking thing came together like that, it was unbelievable. Like, the doors opened, some dude puts down the house lights, the lights and stuff. If you watch the first Dude Where's My Ring show for free on YouTube, yes. And watch how pro that looks like on film and everything, that's how it felt in real life. It was like, yo, this is a real fucking wrestling show right now. I'm standing here at the booth, I got my butt here, and I'm about to just like be a wrestling commentator and I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. So here we go. So it cranks up. I don't know what to expect, but I know at the very least, I know fucking heaps about, you know, Joel Bateman and that. You know, I know the Pulse, I know James Hartness, and I know that deathmatch main event that I'll get my legs under me, and the rest I'm just going to feel out as I go and go with the facts that I know from like interviews and stuff. But Adam is so good. He's just an absolute professional. But he's also doing double duty as well. So he's running to the ring, he's doing the announcements, he's running back, and I need to fill in the gaps and also do the bell, which I fucking hate. And so it just starts up, and they do the music, and I can't hear anything, and I just kind of wait for all the announcements to do. And I was just like, well, I'm fucking in it now. Channel your inner struggles, and welcome to Dude Where's My Fucking Ring. Here we go. And that was just it. And I had so much fun, man. Maybe I had a few too many beers, I don't know.
There's no such thing. No such thing as a few too many beers, man. You excelled. I think you excelled yourself as well. And I think, what's the name of that fucking club was the Badlands?
Yeah, Badlands.
Because I remember I fucking sent the video of the show to my dad. And his favourite movie is The Badlands, which is some fucking random, that random like 70s movie or whatever. And he was like, yeah, it's like The Badlands. And I was like, hell yeah. And I was like my friend Raves doing the commentary and shit, and we sat and watched it, and I thought it was really, really good. It was great.
Oh, I'm so proud of the crew, man. And then, like, since then, the level of camaraderie that has sort of been formed by Michelle. She's very inclusive. You're all part of this, you know. Then, you know, it's no real secret, but like Felix Young and Jared Slade are real locker room leaders and a big part of that company, you know, and they're so great. And then Reese, our camera guy, like, he's just, can you believe how fucking good those shows look? Like, he's an unbelievable talent, so creative, and they kind of form up the nucleus, and then the rest of us all, you know, orbit around that. And I'm just really grateful to be a part of it. And then as each show went, you know, it's just kind of found its feet. I then had to miss the second show. I was in Japan.
Yeah.
They only got on Mikey Nichols from New Japan. I'm a huge New Japan fan, and I'm like, oh, fucking nice, thanks, guys. So I come back, get a few beers on with Adam, and we call it in post right here in this room. And I was quite happy with the commentary. I was like, oh, it's not going to sound as good because it's live and blah, blah, blah. But it sounds like we're there, which is really cool. We didn't really hype that. We were joking about it. But, yeah. Did it sound okay?
I would say it sounds like you're there. Like, all it's seamless, really, like, to the difference in the second show and everything there. It's exactly the same, man. It's really, really, really fucking good. And then they've got that what's it called? AOW? Australian, what's it called?
So, Australian Outlaw Wrestling?
Yes.
With all the guys that we just met, we did the rearranged show. So we've done 4 shows, technically 5 shows in Perth now, because we just did one called They Don't Even Go Here. About a week, 2 weeks ago, with Clint and Neil were there, and Joel. And then we went to Melbourne and we did the rearranged show with Deathmatch Down Under and Australian Outlaw Wrestling. I say we. See, this is the technique. I didn't fucking do anything. I was just
but you're part of it. Yeah, don't undersell yourself. Don't undersell yourself. You're still part of it, man.
My wife and I, and Dale, the guy from it. He's a guy from the crew. We were the fucking vibe police at that show, let me tell you. Everybody in Melbourne was like, and we were like, yo, man, like we were just going fucking sick. And then it was Dream the next day after that. So yeah, we had a big week, but that was where it really as well felt like that team aesthetic, like because we were rolling in as like the Perth crew, and everyone's like, that is the Dude Where's My Ring crew. We felt like a real squad, you know, and it was a really cool vibe, and especially that rearranged show because it was technically Deathmatch Down Under versus Australian Outlaw Wrestling versus, you know, Dude Where's My Ring. We were bringing the team vibes, but with the other guys and you know cheering for Dude and all that.
I'm waiting to see that as well, and seeing Dream. I really want to fucking watch that show, man. Especially for like guys like obviously Clint and the Neil as well. Like I've seen like some clips of Neil and fucking Jordan Sampson going through some sheets of glass and there's fire and shit, and I'm like, my fucking god! Like I want to watch this like now, but obviously you just have to wait.
Dude,
but
it was a great show. Like I can't take my hat off to Deathmatch Down Under enough. Like it was like a perfect tournament show. It was the first tournament I've ever been to live myself. It went just like that. It was so fun. All the match steps would change all the time. Heaps of variants. There was little, you know, segments kind of between things that kept everything rolling. It was a great mixed tag before you got to the final. And then the final was just like everything in the kitchen fucking sink, man. There was
the big cage,
the
big fucking cage and shit. Yeah, man, it looks so cool.
Yeah, there was glass through the ring. There was fire. There was everything you could ever want from a deathmatch final. And Neil Diamond Cutter is one of the absolute best in the world.
Yes.
And Samson just stood right there with him. Jordan Sampson, the Brick Shithouse, get to know that name because he's fucking awesome, dude. That was unbelievable. I was so happy for them. I was so proud of both guys, and I just had the best time. It was and it was like, you know, a big show, you know, 4 or 5 hours by the time it was done kind of thing. You know, they were trying to move it as quick as they could, but it was just wicked, dude. It was so fucking cool. I'm so glad we flew over for it.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Like, I assume it's going to be in like IWTV at some point, but like I am waiting there because I saw some fucking bump through some fucking barbed wire structure wooden thing, and I was like, hell yeah, like
that was the first round. That was the very first match. Is a 3-way no rope barbed wire between Jared Slate, Hex, and Heavyset Violence Michael Weaver, and it was fucking cool, man. It was unbelievable. I tried to tell Hex as he was rolling out of the ring that was fucking unbelievable. He told me to fuck off because he's Australian Outlaw Wrestling. And I told him that Australian Outlaw Wrestling fucking sucked. That's not true though. He's it's a great Hex could get fucked, but they put on great shit. You know, I haven't been to one of their shows, but I've seen their stuff online, and by all accounts, they're a great lineup. Crusher Cole, their champion, was an absolute fucking menace at the rearranged show. He was in a 3-way against our boy Axton, and oh no, mind blanking. I drank strong zeros before I went. It was the first match. Axton versus... Oh, is that prick Hex again? That's why. Hex and so it's funny. Like they had all 3 ring announcers for rearrange. So Michelle was announcing the Dude people. The gentleman from Australian Outlaw Wrestling was announcing Hex, and then Hawko was announcing
who I really like on commentary as well. That Hawko guy.
Yeah, Hawko's great. He just retired from... I just said it was Hex. It wasn't Hex because he was Crusher. Who was the Deathmatch Down Under person? Oh, no. I'm so sorry, everybody.
That's all right.
Anyway, The killer three-way. Anyway, as they come out, it was funny because, like, you know, everybody's waiting and they give old mate a chant or whatever. And then Axton music's hit and we're like, nobody's ready for how big this motherfucker is.
Is he the big, like, fucking massive guy?
He is the densest, widest man.
Is he the guy that's, like wide, tall? I remember, I saw, he did, like, he did a fucking, DMDU show and he was wrestling... It might be in Will Walker or something, but he was wrestling like some sort of death match. And it was the first time I'd ever seen him, and I was like, holy fuck. I was like, this guy's fucking good. So it's that guy. That's, I mean, I've never seen him aside from that, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's only done one technical death match. He did a barbed wire everything death match with Jared Slate at Badlands.
Okay.
It's my ring. He's the big guy, the big tattoo guy. That was the one where Jared Slate tried to staple barbed wire to his own chest.
Oh, yes.
Insane. But Axton was on the rearranged show. I can't believe I can't remember who that deathmatch talent wrestler is. I'm so fucking sorry. It's not there. Like this is just like a creator character black silhouette where the person is in that match in my memory. I can't do it. Fuck, I could just look up the image.
There's too many deathmatch wrestlers. That's the main thing.
There is. But Axton was at Dream and he was having a great time. He was in a multi-man tag. Him and the Great George took on like Cool Guy Squad and see again. Why do I keep trying to remember things? But I was talking to him after, and he was like, "Man, I would fucking love to do a Dream next year." And I'm like, "Let's go! You got a year, buddy.
Yes.
Let's get it going."
And they've got cool T-shirts. I think I've asked Neil to get me one of those fucking T-shirts. So, yeah, man, like Dream looked cool as fuck as always, and I was like,
it really was, man. It was like so cool. I am looking up who that fucking badge I will never forgive myself if I can't tell everybody what it was rearranged. Where's the lineup? Give it to me now.
I'll be on Cage Match, I assume.
Oh, it was Xavier Black. It was Xavier Black.
Okay.
Sorry. Xavier Black
From
versus Crusher Cole,
yeah.
Zaxton, then rewinding all the way back to the point of my fucking conversation was that Crusher Cole's knee had done his knee. So he limped into that fucking match against those two guys and had a no ring on the floor of the tote and then still won it. It was killer.
It looked fucking cool, like the whole show, especially for Did You Where's My Ring and stuff with having Clint over as well, which is his first time in Australia. Did you get a chance to speak to Clint? He's fucking awesome. I love Clint Margera.
Yeah, I did. I didn't record any interviews or anything, but I did get a chance to hang out with Clint like quite a bit. He's a great dude, and another one of those guys that like until you see him live, you don't really get how good he is. Like I knew he was good, but like live, he's just like got this like vibe to him. Like how did my wife describe it? Like he's fed up.
Yes.
Like, he just comes in.
He's
like
there's never a smile. Never a smile will pass his lips.
He lays everything fucking in, you know what I mean? He's there to have a fight. He's sick of everybody's bullshit, and he just fucking kills it. You know, he absolutely puts everything into it. And a great dude. He loves his food. I went and picked him and Neil up the next day, and we went out and met Joel and Michelle in Fremantle and went to Gage Road's Brewing and had like a really nice lunch, you know, fish and chips, tacos, different things. And that man was having the time of his life with that food. He was loving everything on that table. And then my favourite Clint moment is we look over and Michelle and Amy, my wife, are sharing like a lemon tart. And he just goes, the density of that tart. I ended up getting one, and he had the time of his life. I think that was probably the highlight of his entire trip. And he may even tell you the same thing. He had a great fucking time. And then we went to a wrestling show that night. Minoru Suzuki was fighting Loki.
Oh my god! What a match! Yeah, so how was that? Hey, fuck the Australian stuff. How was fucking Loki against Minoru Suzuki? Oh my god!
Right, it was like everything you would want to see from a Suzuki match. Like just his personality everywhere, slapping the shit out of him. You know, Loki's so good too. And we had gone to the beer garden beforehand, had the footy on, and we're tying on a few beers and throwing a few ribs around at each other, you know, having a good time. And then as the indie wrestling was going on, New Horizon was going on, our boys were up the back. We had gotten tickets earlier. They just got in on the day, so they were up the back and then yelling at everybody and carrying on, and everybody was having a good time.
It's not too bad. I mean, I went to that fucking all-in pay-per-view. The biggest pay-per-view of all time. My God.
Yes, it looked amazing on camera.
Yes, but it was shit in person. In person, it was shit. We were down on the pitch, so the minute anyone moved, you couldn't see fuck all. I'm known to, obviously, anyone that's watching this knows me. I enjoy an alcoholic beverage. My best friend who was there was fucking wasted, like paralytic drunk, like through the entire show. I was pretty fine. It was okay, but you couldn't see fuck all. You couldn't see, and you weren't allowed to smoke.
Even out,
no.
I mean, I guess there's not a lot of people.
But like I said to some girl who was there, I was like, so is there like a smoking area or is there this or that? And she was like, no. She was like, if you want to smoke, no.
Area. Like,
if
a room you can go to.
If she said to me, she was like, if you smoke, you go outside the front, you're not going to get back in. I was like, okay. 81,000 people, and I was like, okay, so I'm waiting for like fucking MGF to do super kicks and shit, and I'm like smoking, we're like hiding behind people and shit, and yeah, I saw people get thrown out for like smoking and stuff, but it was okay to be there, I suppose. But are those Aussie Open guys? Are they over by you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was the first time I'd seen them, really. And I was like, oh,
really?
okay.
Yeah, they've actually been in the UK a lot, like they're Rev Pro guys. And then they were in New Japan. And they were like really, Mark Davis, the bigger guy, had sustained like an injury and stuff, so they were out for a bit. Then they were in New Japan and were really heating up there. They were both in the New Japan Cup and were really fucking good. And then he got injured again, and then they signed with AEW. So they had the Ring of Honor tag titles, but I think they were getting them off them so they can start to roll them into high rotation at AEW.
I found it was tiresome to watch, but it was just because I was like with my mate and stuff. But like, it was good. Yeah. It was good fun and stuff. I mean, I've technically seen CM Punk's Lesnar match live, I suppose. Yeah. But it was okay. But like, I don't know. Like, you're a much bigger like New Japan fan than me. I want to see death matches. That's why the main match was the stuff with like Moxley and Penta and stuff and the skewers. I was happy all day for that, but you know.
Yeah. So it's just not your vibe, and you don't really follow it. I do know what you mean as well about like being on the floor in arenas. Like, I've been to Wrestle Kingdoms a couple of times, and I've had various seats around. You know, I've been on the floor right near the ring, and I've been the back on the railing in front of the ramp, and I've been up in the thing. I tend to just prefer to be in the seating. Like, if I can be in the seating in the first kind of rows, like when you get off the ground and you can just see
build them up the tiered seats. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can't see fuck all. And you just, you're there for the vibe, and you're watching the screens, and your neck is like, jarred up, and you walk out and your head's stuck,
It was, I mean, it was still interesting to, like, see. But, like, I think...
be a part of it, be a part of it. The vibe.
I don't know, man, like, seeing these... I was sitting there, I was like... obviously, like, I'm going to do my own show and shit, but, like, I was like, fucking, I'd rather be in a beer garden in fucking Derby and see Kumite wrestling than watch this shit. But that's just me. I went there because my friend wanted to go there, but, like, my God, like, the merchandise queues, I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Buy it online! Buy it online! Yeah. You could buy a t-shirt there and have it sent to your house by the time you went to the fucking start of the merch queue. It was shockingly bad, like. I couldn't believe how much money they were charging for like $50 for a fucking t-shirt. I was like, what the fuck? It was insane.
There is something, I don't do lines very well. I would like go back later or whatever, but like there is something to be said for like going to an event and buying the merch and like being in the moment and doing all that. Like, I get it, but I can't do the a huge line. Like, my wife and I were at the first Double or Nothing in Vegas, right? We got married in Vegas and went to that show. When it was time to enter, we had tickets. The line to get in was like around the venue, yeah. But right next to the door to enter, there was a bar. So we just went to the bar and we go, when this line is gone, we will then just walk in because we have seats.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what fucking shocked me, because my mate was like, we need to get there early, and I'm like, well, the show doesn't start till fucking like 5 o'clock. At this point, it was like 1:30. He was like, no, we need to get in early, and I'm like, but we have seats. Like no one's taking our seats. Like, who gives a fuck about us going there early and then... Oh, no, I don't know. I mean, this might just turn into me fucking ranting about that fucking AEW show. But, like, I don't know. I did see some guys I've never seen before. Like, that guy who was against Kenny Omega, that Takeshita guy. He was pretty good.
Good. He's good. Well, let me say this. Let me take this as an opportunity to put you over. And
thank you.
Right, so, you went to that. And you did your best to have a good time. But at the end of the day, what I know from you is you're one of the most passionate deathmatch fans I know.
Thank you.
What that says to me, and what it should say to anybody that watches this video and supports Bleeding Gums Wrestling, is this man is not going to fuck around or half-step when it comes to putting on this show.
Yeah.
He's passionate about seeing this kind of wrestling come to his part of the world, and he's going to make that happen. He's working at it all the time. I've never met a promoter, I think, that works as hard with the bullshit that you've been fucking up to. You've always got updates for me and things like that. It's really cool to see you going after it, man. And as somebody who's now we didn't have death matches in Perth until we started Dude, Where's My Ring? And these shows have been selling out.
Yes.
We've been setting bar records at the brewery that we run at.
Because there's nothing like it.
Exactly, and because guess what? All the fucking all indie shows and stuff like that, usually because there's nowhere in the city that you can put a ring, they're always out in the sticks and the suburbs, so nobody can go. Or if you're gonna go, you've got to drive. You kind of have a few beers, and it's family friendly, and it's all that stuff, and that's all great. But that's not what I want to do. I want to go to a club, I want to watch a band, I want to drink a beer, I want to feel like I'm in that. That's why when I first saw Casanova Valentine's documentary, and I saw his no ring shows, I was like, yo, where the fuck is this? This is the kind of stuff that I want to see, yeah?
Yeah.
So when we then start doing that in Perth, I'm like, this is everything I want. All my friends that I could never get to go to some indie show or whatever, come all the time. They're like, when is the next show? Because they have a wicked time and it's crazy. And people from my wife's work come and they're just like, oh my God,
but it's the sort of thing as well where you don't even need to advertise it as wrestling as well. You don't even need to advertise it as wrestling. It's just it's a fucking show. Get high, get hammered, see guys bleed all over the floor. It's not necessarily a quote unquote wrestling show. So it's
we just had advertisers, Dude, Where's My Ring? And to be honest, we've had some great guests already, absolutely fucking stoked. I can't believe we've already had, 2 international guests. We've had people over from over east. But the crowd is not affected by that. You might pick up a few extra tickets, but people are now just going to come just because it's a Dude, Where's My Ring show.
Yeah.
Because they know it's going to be a fun Friday night or whatever, because it's crazy. And the venue's so supportive of us. Seasonal Brewing, they bought Michelle a custom Ribera jacket. You've probably seen it on social media.
I've seen that, yeah. That's cool.
There'll be pre-orders. But the venue got that made for her. How fucking crazy is that? And then the last show, they were like, you know what? We let you try glass. There was light tubes in the Mickey Fortune Felix Young match. They go, that went well. Do whatever you want for this next one. It's really big. And there were glass panes, and there were tubes, and there was all kinds of shit. There was a Home Alone death match. It was fucking.
I am waiting to see that. I mean, I've had the go ahead from. I've had the go ahead from my venue, and they're like, yeah. They're like, do whatever you want. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you're gonna let me do what I want. I'm like, fine. So I'd say that we're probably gonna get back, but. it's going to be something different. Crazy different.
All you got to do is take the proper precautions so nobody, you know, in the crowd is copping anything. You know, make sure you've got ring crew to clear people out of the way. If you really wanted to protect yourself extra, because you're going to have a lot of glass, you can hand out free, you know, safety glasses to customers and stuff like that. But the main thing, having ring crew to clear everybody around the way went the right way, and then just like clean everything up.
Yep.
You know, that's like the big thing. If you can run all that chaos and then afterwards it's a completely clear room and you've helped them set back up and everything's the same, then how does it affect them?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's only positive. I stood with the venue manager, a great guy. Afterwards, I walked over and there's glass everywhere. The place is fucking covered. It's a war zone, right? And I go, so how you feeling about it all now? And he goes, heart rate was a little bit elevated at the end there. Sure. I go, and how you feeling about like all the fuckery and stuff? He goes, the venue manager in me maybe thinks it was a mistake to let you guys do whatever you want. He goes, but the fan in me fucking loved it. And
Well, I mean,
there's no way every single person in this doesn't tell their friends about what they did there. And he's like, hell yeah. Like, you know, he's about it and he knows that we take it serious. All that stuff was cleaned up. We always help pack back the tables. We do that kind of stuff and they're super supportive. So that's the kind of company we want to be. And, you know, and I say we want to be, like I say, I'm on the fringes. I'm just lucky they include me and they make me feel like I'm part of it. I just rock up with my sound desk and I play some commentary. But Dude, Where's My Ring is like a super, like, special little group of people. And yeah, I'm very proud to sort of just even be adjacent to them. You know? And I think you can do that too. I think, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I certainly fucking hope so, man. I've already bought a fucking 9 metre by 9 metre tarp for putting under the ring so we can clear all the shit into there. They've said the same to me. They aren't wrestling fans. It's a very what's the word for it? Not wanting to be too out of left field. It's a very like woke, arty, farty venue. So which is fine, but like they're like, okay, whatever, you do what you want to do, as long as it's clean. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
No
so
worries.
How did you? So you can tell I fucking do interviews because I'm about to start interviewing you real quick. How did you sell it to them? Because that's really interesting to me. So, like, how does Andrew Cramen, who has never run a show before, turn up to a venue and go, I want to bring in a wrestling ring and have people hit each other with glass? Like, how do you sell that, or is that the pitch?
Basically, I paid them first, and then they were like, oh, okay. And I was like, by the way, there's gonna be fucking blood. We're gonna have razor blades. We're gonna have glass. We're gonna have light tubes. And I showed them a little video of a Kumite show, and they were like, oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, because it's like
1,001 holds of all the fuckery, and you're just like,
I was like, but like, it's gonna be so much worse than that. But like, they were happy to do it because I think I mean, it sounds bad. I don't want to shit on me, but like, I think they think they're like a big art venue, and they're like, oh, arty farty shit, and you're like, okay. I'm like fine. I'm like, I will.
Boundaries, right? Like,
yeah.
Is that what it is? I like the idea. I mean, that's how Cass originally sold this stuff, was that it was art shows and then there'd be fighting and things like that in there. It sounds like they like the idea of pushing that. They'd probably be into it if you were doing like, we're going to have people hanging from the roof by fucking hooks and shit.
People be doing poetry on stage while we're doing, you know what I mean? Like, people like give a fuck about stuff like that. But no, I mean, they're happy about it now. Maybe not afterwards, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I say, you clean it all up. Have you got like a crew of people coming to help you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it will be me, which I think will be interesting. I mean, I do like that for when Joel and stuff does DMDU and things, but I'll be ringside for every match. I'll be helping because it's me that's building all the shit. This may be like a spoiler for the main event. I've got 2 big structures. One's a big, massive fucking, sort of the basic same barbed wire structure, but a huge big one. And then we've also got a pane of glass structure on the outside for the main event, which has never been done in Scotland before as well, which will be nice. But hey ho, no one else is going to do that in the UK, I don't think. But hey ho.
No one else has got the stones.
No, I mean it's the amount of
passionate about it. There's no way it won't succeed. Like, is how I feel about it.
I think thus far, I mean, even like yesterday or the day before, I was out flyering, and I've never done that before in my life. Just me, myself, and I'm flyering my show to people that like couldn't give a fuck about wrestling, but like then you're giving them flyers and shit, and I'm advertising it as a extreme art show, and like that'll get the students. They'll be like, ooh, you know. They'll think it's something really like clever and inventive and stuff. So you're like, okay.
I love that, man. I love that hustle. Like back when, you know, jeez, I always say 10 years ago when I was in a band. I was in a band for 10 years. That was fucking 10 years prior. But like when we were in the band, you know, we were getting going. We would do that shit all the time. Like leading up to shows, weekends would be out, backpacks on, flyering shows, doing shit. You know, we would go on international tours. You know, we're touring with bands like the Black Dahlia Murder and shit like that. After we would play, when people were leaving the venue, we'd be there with stacks of CDs going, hey man, did you catch us up there? And like, $5, yes, last $5 before they put across the bar, and we're giving them EPs and like sorting stuff out. Like doing that kind of hustle is huge in the growth of something when you first do it. You know, you can't just rely on social media.
No,
you've
definitely
got to,
not.
Like you said, you went out flying for 7 hours and you saw 4 extra ticket sales come through, like online. Whether they're related to that, you don't know, but they could be, and that's 4 you wouldn't have had otherwise. So, you know, it pays off.
Well, I mean that's the thing as well. Like from you're saying, like being in bands and shit. Like all the people I've got on social media, somebody like yourself, these are all people that are in the deathmatch bubble. They're not fucking people that are going to come to the show All the people that are going to come to the show are there anyway. I need the people that aren't going to come to the show. That's the entire purpose of. You need these fucking people that aren't gonna necessarily see it, because I mean I was saying that to my mate Peter. Like if you're in a bubble of wrestling, you forget there is real people out there who fucking hate wrestling and don't want anything to do with it, and then you've got to speak to them on a different level and be like blah blah blah, and they don't want anything to do with it. So you got to try and sell these people on a show. So.
Absolutely. And you know what? Offering something like what you're offering, like what Dude offers, like what Deathmatch Down Under offers, Australian Outlaw Wrestling, there's people who don't even know they're a fan of that yet. Like I said, I have friends that come to the Dude shows that are like obsessed with them. They don't watch wrestling. They just come to Dude Where's My Ring shows because they're so fucking cool. My friend's girlfriend, Siobhan, was like, can you show me more of this shit? I'm sending her Takeda matches and shit.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
About it, you know, like, and it's just so cool to see people where I've had a couple of people that I've brought and they're like, you know what, that's not for me. And that is totally fine. But to the credit of my friends that came and saw it and were like, oh, the blood was a bit extreme, I'm not about. Hey, at least they fucking showed up. They paid, you know, $30, whatever it was to enter. They bought a ticket in advance. They came down to support me. It wasn't their vibe, and that is totally fine. But then there's other friends who are like, yo, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And that you just want people to give it a chance and see, because watching videos online, all of that stuff, nothing equals it being at a deathmatch show, because you don't know until you see it. We dragged Amy's sister to the ICW tour. We brought her to Melbourne for 4 shows. She'd never been to a deathmatch show before.
Oh my god.
By the end of it, she was fucking into it.
I remember, I mean, they did the ICW, I mean, we'll talk about that now, I suppose. They did the ICW, did their Australian tour, then they did their UK tour, and then now they're doing it again next year with Kobayashi. Yeah. So, I mean, it's something, it's going to be, I mean, I'll be there anyway, but like, there was like a big fucking legal thing in the UK, and
yeah, I heard. The UK had like a tint to it, like I don't know, an asterisk next to it, that last tour, where I kind of got the vibe it didn't go that great, right? Like,
I mean, the tour went off. I mean, in all fairness, I was there from Thursday to Monday. I was fucking hammered. That was the first, when I went back home on the Monday or the Sunday, I was like that. I was motherfucking. I put more things.
I'm shocked to hear this.
I put more things up my nose than I put my mouth more places than other people would put their feet. You know what I mean? So I was fucking hammered every single night. But it was great. But there was obviously that somebody got hit with glass. He was a fan, and then it turned everything, and then it got cancelled, then it got moved and everything. But I was there every single fucking day, and I saw. I mean, I'll probably speak about that now. Saw the best death match I've ever seen in my entire life, which was Iceman against Jack. The best death match I have ever seen. I mean, in comparison to like comedy, anything, I've never seen something that good live. And I would go on IWTV and watch that match because it was fucking
Which show
insane.
is it on?
It is Rise's Violence Party. It is part of the ICW weekend, and it was Jack against his dad, and he nailed his fucking ear to a block in the ring with a fucking hammer and nails, and it was the
Jesus.
best thing I've ever seen. But yeah, I think that person getting hit with glass and stuff kind of derailed a lot of the stuff for Rise. But now we're coming back basically a year later, and we now have Abdullah Kobayashi. So
Do you know where that got to? Like the fan, because I think there was legal action or whatever. Did that all end up?
I believe that the lawsuit might still be ongoing or whatever. I don't know. But I've been told that a lot of the stuff's been squashed. But whatever. But
well, this is what I'm saying. If you're stressed about that kind of stuff, there's a few ways that companies can protect themselves. You can have a thing at the door that says, if you step beyond this line, you know what I mean, you accept the risks of the venue, etc. And then you can also have, like they do in Japan, you can have complimentary safety glasses and ponchos and shit. When I first saw a death match in Big Japan, didn't know I was going to, and then did, legendary story that I've told a zillion times, we're watching the main event get ready, and they're hanging shoes from the ropes, and all the front rows are putting on ponchos and glasses. I'm like, what the fuck's going on now? And then Abdullah Kobayashi goes through, one of the ropes and showers the front.
yes,
three.
and you get the guy standing in front doing trying to cover as much as he can,
Yeah, exactly. Which is what the crew do for us and at Deathmatch Down Under and stuff like that, and I'm sure you will do as well. Is when it's going that way, in the announcements and stuff, we'll always be like, if you see wrestlers coming your way, get the fuck out of the way, kind of thing. If they're going to do something in your direction, move. And when we were doing glass at Seasonal Brewing or whatever, everyone's like, you fucking hear me on the mic, get the fuck out of the way.
That's the thing though as well. It's if you're doing a show and it's not necessarily wrestling fans, people don't know. People don't know when to fucking move.
Exactly.
So that's
and
when things like that happen.
One on, they're a few beers deep, they're not really on their toes.
Then they've got blood, they've got people bleeding all over them and shit, and you're like, okay. But fuck it. I mean, I think I will say this about the Rise stuff. It's been moved now to February next year, which to me is fucking fantastic because it means that my show is now the last deathmatch show of 2023 in the UK.
Oh, that's exciting.
So it'll be, and I mean, I might announce it now on the thing.
Let's do it.
So, for the first time ever, I don't know, I'm going to do hyperbole and all that shit. But for the first time ever, we have got, we were speaking about Clint Margera, who's been doing deathmatch wrestling. There's probably more death matches than me and you've had hot meals.
Yeah.
For the first time ever at the Scottish show, Ultraviolence Referendum, November 18th, I've got Clint Margera against the motherfucking Iceman. 1-on-1. First time ever. Which shocks me that they have been doing deathmatch wrestling for so long and they've never had a fucking match. So, and I know my little fucking logo looks like a sort of pirate flag. So it's called Bundled Up and Overboard, so we've got boards and bundles. So it'll be something different, and I know both those guys are looking forward to that. So that's a new thing that's going to happen anyway. So Iceman against fucking Clint
that's so
Margera.
exciting. Yeah. That is, when I was driving Clint the other day, we were talking briefly about your show. And I said, do you know what you're doing? And he kind of alluded to that, like, but not confirmed it.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I kind of hope this will happen. And so, yeah, I know he's excited for that. So
It's one of these things where you're like, these two guys, like, if you're going to do a fucking deathmatch show in the UK, Iceman and Clint, or Iceman or Clint, are going to be in every single deathmatch show you've ever seen in the UK. They've never fucking wrestled. It's insane. It's genuinely insane to me. So I'm like, fuck it, right? Let's do them together, and it'll be the I hate the phrase OGs, but it'll be two of like the sort of deathmatch old school guys.
Yeah,
and it'll be fun, and people will bleed, and it'll be great.
Yeah, exactly. The card is shaping up real great. Is that the final match to announce? Have you announced the whole card now?
Jesus Christ, what have I even got on the show? I've got Alton Thorne against Jack, Garden Deathmatch. I've got Tomby, B.A. Rose, Jack Bennett, Death in a Box, which would be fun to see what's coming out the boxes. Some of that will be fucking fun. I've obviously got the main event, Neil Diamond cutting the Deathmatch Outlaws, Holyrood Hellscape, which will be insane, which will probably be the first time there's been that many panes of glass in a UK show. I'd like to put my stamp on that and say that's going to be the first time there's that many panes of glass. What else do we have? It's a deathmatch, fucking heavy show. We do have some quote unquote normal matches, but like, Jesus Christ, it's something that a lot of people are saying like, oh, you've done too much. I've heard, and I'm like, oh well. like you know what I mean? Like,
I think just the most important thing, like, I don't think there's ever sort of too much. I think it's just making sure that the show doesn't go too long where people burn out. You know what I mean? Like, you need to hit that sort of perfect time mark.
Yeah.
And then you know, and if you're doing variation and you're doing stipulations and you're doing things like that, you'll be great, you know. I've seen shows before where they've just thrown in one or too many matches because they're trying to give everybody a chance, and then it overstays its welcome, you know. So as long as you keep it tight and to the point and you throw in lots of variation, you'll be fine.
I think that any match that isn't the main event shouldn't go longer than 10 minutes, in my personal opinion. but that's just me. But like, that's the complete opposite of the New Japan model, where every single match is 45 minutes, 95 super kicks. And you're like, okay, that's fine. But
you'll hear that from me as well. I'm like, I am well and truly burnt out from this. They actually did really well in the G1 this year. Don't get me wrong, I'm still pretty exhausted from it. But they had 20-minute time limits on all the G1 matches, which made the whole thing go like a lot faster.
How many matches were there?
Oh, dude! Like, there was 4 blocks of.
Oh my god! No, already, like, Dave Meltzer, whatever his name is, like, can give a match 7 stars. I ain't watching it. Like, there's too fucking much wrestling. I know there's a lot of like amazing like talent in like New Japan and stuff, but like, not for me. Like, the minute somebody says there's 4 blocks, fuck that, I ain't watching that. But like, it's fine.
There'd be like a night would have, say, block A and block B, and it'd go for 3 hours, and then that'd happen 4 times a week.
Oh god!
And so over on my New Japan podcast, Okada Shorts, we do this insane fucking thing called G1 Dream, where we review every night of the G1.
Oh god!
Me and my co-host Curtis who lives in London actually, we would swap out nights. So I only did half of it, and after it was finished, I'm like, cool, I'll watch New Japan again in a couple of months. Like,
the thing is, it's like, obviously it's like Japanese wrestling and shit's like a very, very like big thing, and everybody loves it. But like, I couldn't personally. Like my best friend watches Raw live every week. He's a fucking masochist. I couldn't do that. I literally couldn't do that. Like, I I barely even watch deathmatch stuff anymore. Like I watch the stuff I find like funny. I think there's not enough character stuff anymore. I mean, I did see there was like that Bray Wyatt thing. I mean, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. But I did see there was all these fucking I hate to call them marks, but like all these people had their phone lights up, and I was sitting there and I was like, oh my god. And there's people behind us like walked past us, and they were dressed as like Bray Wyatt's the Fiend, and they walked past us, and all these people were like, and then one of them like bowed, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like they're not like who are these people? Like what the fuck is going on? Like I don't know. It shocked me like how people were just like, oh my god, there's a guy dressed as Bray Wyatt, so now you're clapping? Like what? But I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just my sensibilities. But like, I feel like that Takeshita guy, I think he's pretty good. But I think he's only good because I like Don Callis.
Don Callis is great.
I love Don Callis, but like I'm a fucking old. But when I say old, I mean like dying days ECW. For me, the best years of ECW were like 2000. A lot of people won't agree with that, but like the dying days of ECW 2000, Don Callis was there with Joey Styles and everything. I loved that, but I can't believe 4 blocks. My God, that's insane.
It's a lot. It is a lot, but there's something about the I know, like the.
You're trying to sell it.
I was just like, why do I like this? Because I know what you're saying. It's a lot of time, but there's something really rewarding.
If it's one of the guys,
the end of the tournament and it heats up, and they've really achieved something because it's like in the summer. It's as close to like a shoot martial arts tournament as you can get. You know what I mean? It's in the heat of summer of Japan.
I'm not saying the wrestling's bad. I'm not saying the wrestling's bad in any way, shape, or form. The wrestling's awesome.
Put myself through it is the question.
Yes, exactly. But I'm like, even now, I'm like, oh my god, I have to watch fucking Tournament of Death again. I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I've kind of like.
I think it sounds like you're more than ready to stop watching wrestling.
Nah, but like, I've been like this. I've been like this for 20 years. I love wrestling, but at the same time, I hate wrestling. It's the best thing and the worst thing in the world. But I mean, those like New Japan shows, like, Jesus Christ, like I couldn't do that. I mean, but then again, you probably get some of the best fucking wrestling, like proper wrestling matches you've ever seen out of that.
And
so
also, New Japan do this like real long-term, and I mean long-term storyline where you really like see people's entire careers. You know what I mean? And like the reward from that, like when you've seen them from a developing wrestler all through everything they've been through, and then when you see them get to like the highest heights and you can really like follow a career. You know how like in American wrestling you'll start being really into somebody and you're like, fuck yeah, but then it'll just drop off TV.
And then
get signed to another thing, and then like that doesn't really happen in New Japan. Occasionally, you know, people get cherry picked from the top, but you really do get to see people develop. You know, like Aaron Henare, who is a bud of mine from New Zealand. I did an interview with him recently on Faces and Feels, but like we've been watching him since he was a young lion. You know,
yeah.
Then all through everything, and he would say gimmick he wasn't happy with and things like that. Through into becoming part of, I suppose, United Empire, and then now, you know, as he's, you know, embracing his heritage more and starting to get pushed more and doing better things in the G1. You know, he was in the G1 previously and he'd only have one win. And this one he was low on wins, but he never really got beaten, you know, like you can start to see them really getting behind him and stuff, and it becomes really rewarding because you see your guy.
If you've got your guy and you've got money, which I always say don't bet on wrestling, but I do bet on wrestling occasionally, but like, you've got your guy, that's the best thing. Your guy's gonna win, and then he's going to get beaten by Okada, and then there's going to be no point in any of it. so
when your guy is an Okada, and then you're pretty happy about it.
well, this thing is like my mate's a massive like AEW fan. He's like, yeah. He said we're gonna bring like Okada. Like, we could bring Okada to AEW and shit. And I'm like, man, like I don't fucking watch AEW. Like, it would mean nothing. Okada doesn't need to go to AEW. He's already the champion of his own fucking country, not a company, his own country. I'm like, fuck AEW, you know what I mean? But
yeah, well, yeah, he's a shoot celebrity in Japan. You know what
he's
I mean?
in those fucking he's in those fucking games. I played one of those games, those Yakuza games. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, I was like, holy shit! I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, fuck AEW if you're gonna be in your own game. But like, I don't know, like.
And also, like the whole dojo system and everything in New Japan and the company and the like loyalty of the entire thing. Those kind of guys, those like New Japan made guys, they don't just jump around.
No.
You know what I mean? They're lifers, and as a result, the company treats them like that.
Yes.
And so they're like job for life. They're there. It's a career. It's who they are. It's what they are, and that's what makes the company special because that core roster, that core New Japan dojo.
It's the training system.
It's what makes it special. You know, and that's what it is. They don't jump out and whip around very often.
And they don't have people like CM Punk. God, I was laughing my fucking ass off. I was laughing I don't know if you're a fan of his. I'm gonna get myself a beer, but like I don't know if you're a fan of his.
I
But
can take him or leave him really. I was out of wrestling when he was at his peak, and then when I got back, I was. I had seen some stuff and I listened to the interviews and I thought he seemed pretty cool kind of thing, and I was excited to see him come back to AEW, but I don't know, it feels like the news gets in the way of the wrestling. I was just like, can we all grow up? I kept hoping it was a work. I'm like, maybe they're smart enough to like turn this bullshit into like an actual work that will be a crazy storyline that blends reality.
I mean, but it could be. It could be. I remember there was that fucking pay-per-view last year, that all-out pay-per-view, where Punk was there, and I remember nearly fighting somebody outside a pub because they said Nick Gage wasn't a real wrestler, and I was like, whoa! But bear in mind, I've been drinking since about like 3:30 in the morning. I was like, fuck you! But I was, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have time for like somebody to disrespect like one of the best wrestlers of all time. But now we got the CM Punk stuff. Like, I am so happy that he is gone because I have no time for that. I think it's fuck that, the ego driven nonsense. But like, if they're going to use it as a storyline, fine. But they won't.
They won't.
Of course not.
They won't. If they could, like, I honestly think they probably would. If he could get out of his own way, but I don't think he can. I think he's just like fucking on that shit. Like he just thinks he's right.
That's what I mean though. It's like, who is literally watching the show to watch him? I don't watch AEW. My mate, my mate watches Raw Live and shit. He watches CM Punk and he's like, man, he's like Punk's back and Punk's doing this and on this Saturday show, and I'm like, no one watches that. No one, I love wrestling. I mean, I hate wrestling, but like, no one watches that. No one must in their right mind watch that every week, but I'm sure they do.
I mean, people definitely do. People get in the, bubbles where they're just about it. I went through a stage where, because I grew up in Australia, obviously, like, we didn't have it on TV. And so
lucky you.
VHS and all that bullshit run, and then come on Foxtel and things like that. But when I got back into wrestling, I did have like cable, and I could watch Raw every week, and I was very excited because I was like, now I can live the dream. Now I can watch wrestling every week. But what I realized is that like a show like that, like American, professional wrestling, TV wrestling, gets very fucking repetitive.
Yes.
And I was like, they don't. I mean, it might have been different in the Attitude Era when fucking Vince Russo was just throwing everything in the wall to see what would stick. But like, I was like, yo, if I watch fucking Finn Balor wrestle Bobby Lashley one more fucking time, I'm going to shoot myself.
Yeah, because it's just the
And that
same.
was at the point where I just stopped watching fucking...
Exactly. You're
And
like,
it doesn't mean that, like, I hate those wrestlers or I, like, don't mind watching a Royal Rumble or jumping into stuff. I just don't need to watch that weekly. And I do keep up with Dynamite, but I don't need to watch, like, I don't watch every Collision. I don't watch Rampage at all. And
I
if
don't
you
even know what Rampage is.
fast forward through the shit that I'm not interested in, you know, like.
I mean, AEW doesn't really do anything that I want to watch ever, aside from the stuff that like John Moxley's doing. But I'm like, okay, I could watch XPW, or I can watch GCW, and I could see the same thing done better. But I'm like, alright.
It's funny because at this stage in AEW, John Moxley just is a deathmatch wrestler. Like, he's just bleeding all the time.
But that's the thing that annoys me about it though, is like he's doing it too often. Where like there's no sort of, I like to see it, but then it's kind of like anybody that watches it, they're like, he's just John Moxley. He's just bleeding for the sake of bleeding. And you're like, oh, well, wasn't that fucking 2 years ago when Nick Gage wrestled Chris Jericho in a fucking death match on TV? But I think that, I don't know, I think that having Moxley bleed every week kind of makes it crap. In a way, I don't know, it's weird.
I was talking about this with Felix Young, and he was like, I don't even think he's bladed every week. I think he's just been bladed so often that now if he's a stiff breeze blows past his forehead and pops open is what is really...
But like, that's what I'm saying, everybody's like that. They're like, oh my god, John Moxley's bleeding again. I'm like, I watch deathmatch wrestling every week. This is nothing new to me. I like, if John Moxley's not bleeding enough. He should be bleeding from every arm. He should be bleeding from his arms. Cut his hands off. Cut his head off. Like, kill him. Like the only reason I would say, I don't know why I've gotten an AEW tangent, but the only person at AEW that I like is Christian.
Oh, he's great.
Because he's a heel. Yes, I'm like that to me is like, I mean, everybody, like all my friends and that criticize me for being like the deathmatch guy, but I'm like, I love character wrestling. I love Christian's fucking funny, and he's criticizing people who have got dead dads. That's funny. Like that's a different level.
It was so much just like, I've heard a lot about you, and I've heard a lot about your dad, who's dead.
Yes, and I was like, I popped. I was like, yes. I was like, this is great. Hell yeah, on you go, Christian.
When he gets like call security on his own daughter as well, like, because she interrupts his promo and he's like, "Where's your mother? Get out of here!" And he's like, "She doesn't have credentials. Get her out of here."
Yeah, but that to me is a lot better than any John Moxley match because it's the character stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah. I agree. That's what I like about wrestling too, and that's why I've like always liked stuff with Jericho and things like that, because I like the personalities. And like, I can only watch, like, I love a super fucking match. You know, I love a Takeshita versus a Kenny Omega and things like that. But if every match on the card is that, then I'm bored. But that goes for anything. I need variation in anything I'm watching, because if it
100%.
This is why we'll circle back to Dream.
Yep.
This is why the Dream tournament was so good, is because every match had a different flavour, different things going on, different opponents. My favourite deathmatch tournament prior to that was probably GCW's TOS 666, which was that heaps and heaps of variation. Fast forward to the next couple that came, TOS 7, it was nothing. Everybody just used everything. Everything was the same, and I was like, oh, this is flatlining for me, because there is.
That is exactly what I want to avoid. That's exactly what I want to avoid. I want every match to have a different gimmick. Every match should have a different gimmick, because save the light tubes. I don't know if it's like that in Australia, but they have now banned the production of light tubes worldwide, I think, as of September. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So I think T12s are kind of safe because these them in sunbeds, but T8s, which are your guys' tubes and our guys' tubes, I've got 1,117 light tubes in my attic, so I think I'm pretty safe for the next year. But whatever. But save the fucking light tubes, because eventually there's going to be a point where we are going to have to buy them from overseas, and no one else is going to do that. I'll do that, but a lot of people won't do that. A lot of people won't buy fucking light tubes from North Korea because they will think it'll be a big slap in the face. But eventually the light tubes will die out. Nobody seems to think that. These Circle 6 that they did a really, really good tournament. You see that? But
no, I didn't. I do want to check it out. Wasn't Survival of the Sickest or whatever.
It was very, very good. But
I thought it was good. Yeah.
But all these light tube things, people seem to forget that there's not going to be light tubes forever.
Yeah. So don't waste them on shit.
Yeah. There's a fucking match between one of my favourite wrestlers ever. Currently is that Judge Joe Dredd. I think he's awesome.
I remember his name.
He's very, very good. But he wrestled Hoodfoot on an RPW show, and they just threw bundles in the ring, and I was like, stop doing that. I was like,
it's pressure.
Yeah, I know. I was like, stop wasting all the light tubes. But I don't know. No, I think that eventually people will notice that. But it's like what you were saying about GCW and stuff like that. Every match doesn't just need to be tubes.
Yeah.
Have a break. Have a little break.
Be creative, and then lead to that, and then that can be pretty special, That RPW show, quick shout out to RPW, because the King of the Kill tournament was a lot of fun.
It was good.
I really liked it. Yeah, it was really, really good. They're always really creative with their match tips and stuff like that as well.
And I remember me and you were speaking during that show.
Yeah.
And then we got Schlack against Bateman, and all the bleeding. That was a really, really good show. And then Judge Joe Dredd came and attacked Schlack and blah blah. But I don't know.
So much has happened. That show wasn't even that long ago. Joe was in the States. He was fucking won the unsanctioned pro title. He then was in that tournament, and then was back here. Then he was at Dude. He was fucking home alone deathmatch against Villager. Then he's fucking at Rearranged fight Clint on a bar floor. Then he's in Dream. The man's an absolute weapon.
Joe Bateman does not get the credit that he deserves, I think, for the amount of effort and shit that he puts into deathmatch wrestling. So, shout out to Joe Bateman. I mean, obviously we'd say that anyway, but
he doesn't half-step anything. You never see Joel enter a deathmatch and not give it his fucking all. In everything he does.
He reminds me of friend of the channel, Big Fucking Joe. The happiest people you'd ever fucking meet. And I have no idea why they'd be so happy, because fuck that. Big Fucking Joe wrestles for 3 shows in a day, and he's driving around the whole UK fucking covered in blood.
All over his car.
And you're like, and he's the nicest, fucking happiest guy you'd ever meet in your life, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, Big Joe and Joe Bateman, that'd be a fucking great match. Which has never happened, actually. Which would be a shout out to fucking Joe Bateman. Get fucking Big Joe over to Australia.
Surely. That would be fucking awesome. I would love to see Joe over here. That would be so good. Speaking of people I've been drunk with on the podcast, you and Big Joe. It's all the Englishmen the Scotsmen that I, of course, drunk on the podcast.
I think Joe... love Joe to death. He was the nicest guy I've ever met. But me and him enjoy. I think what was that Kevin Nash thing? People that enjoy a cocktail while they're at work. You know what I mean? so it's Joe's fucking awesome. He's the most professional person you've ever met in your life, and he's everywhere. I mean, this next weekend, he's at fucking GCW, XPW, and CZW in one weekend. Awesome. But
and it will fucking show out on every single show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. I mean, this is maybe a spoiler for a thing. But me and my mate Peter are starting a podcast. Not that
you already seem so excited.
No, but because it's I mean, maybe that's my character now for hating everything that I do. But me and Peter are going to do a podcast so I can start reviewing stuff again. It'll be out the week after the GCW show, and it's called Tube Break.
Okay.
And we'll have it on Spotify, and we'll have it on everything, so people will probably be enjoying watching that, but it's going to be
fun.
tough.
Just like quick little review shows and stuff like that, is it?
I mean, by quick, I mean it'll be like 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, but it's
the term of break making it sound like a quick lunch break is...
It was like in the way of like a piss break, but it's not really.
That's a lot.
Because when I started doing the Bleeding Gum stuff, I lost like I mean a lot of the I used to review shit. I used to review like 15 shows like in a week.
Yeah,
I fucking hated myself. Hated myself for doing that. It genuinely and not I didn't hate my love for deathmatch wrestling, but it became like a chore to do it.
Yes.
And then now like I've kind of got like a company where I'm doing stuff now that if Peter's doing it with me, it takes a lot of the pressure off me. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, I completely understand. That's sort of where I was at with Faces and Fields as well.
Yeah.
Just arranging interviews, trying to get them out regularly, doing all that, having to tee stuff up, having to wake up, having to do that. I was like, I just released a quick bonus episode, like, you know, talking about Dream and
yeah, listen, it was good.
And I was like, yo, I'm fucking burnt out.
Yeah.
I need help. Please support me and help me fall in love with this because I don't want to fucking give up on it, you know, because it does. It gets exhausting because like anything, like when you're going to do something regularly, it becomes work and it's the thing you like. So you need to find that balance and find a way to, you know, enjoy it. And so just got to roll with the punches. You know?
I mean, I did 50 episodes. 50 episodes of me sitting in my fucking house talking about deathmatch wrestling. I was like, holy fuck. When I look back on it, I was like, that's pretty impressive. For like me sitting there on my own, ranting, shouting, a lot of the time for 2 hours straight.
It's a lot to do it on your own.
Yeah.
Like, I think I did 33 episodes of the podcast, like essentially on my own, kind of occasionally a friend in or whatever, before I interviewed Joel Bateman and started doing interviews. Like, so it's a lot, especially when you're just talking on your own and you're like, nobody cares about this. And I'm just my reference and hopefully I hope that 5 listeners that have heard this give a fuck, you know.
Well, that's the thing as well. It wasn't even like for that. It was more just like now I'm kind of like I need somebody to like shout at.
Yeah.
I need to shout at people. Well, maybe not shout at them, but like you know. But I mean, like there has to be like a wall to like bounce things back off. Because I'm like, if I could shout in a room for hours about deathmatch wrestling, but it's just me. I need somebody to argue with. I like argue. I mean,
or agree or whatever.
I mean, like,
interaction, basic human interaction is what you require.
I suppose so. But like anyone who knows me, my missus will say the same thing. I'm an argumentative cunt, and I like. Yeah, but like a lot of people. Anyway, you meet me for like 5 minutes, you understand that. But like, I like arguing. I have a stance. I will be devil's advocate. I will agree with things I hate just to be an argumentative cunt and like argue with people. So I need that. Yeah. So I think that's a good thing. But for
I always agree with you. Whatever you say, I just agree because I can't get into it.
But I mean, it's fine. But whatever anyone wants to say. But I'll say, how was it for Neil Diamond Cutter being over anyway?
It was great to see Neil, and like he was the first international wrestler I ever interviewed, and so I had to be the guy to pick him up from the airport. You know what I mean? I was like, I have to go get him, and I got to be the first person he sees when he hits Perth, and it was great. We got a chance to hang out a bit. You know, obviously he's there to be to do a job and stuff. So I don't want to be his face, you know, all the time or anything like that. And plus, you know, I got my own, like, I still had to work and do all that shit as well. But it was an honour to see him, you know, wrestle for Dude. Ironically, then my first international wrestler that I've done commentary for was also a Neil Diamond Cutter match, which was very appropriate. And he was fucking so good with Jared Slate, man. The motherfucking bear. No love or fuck Jared Slate.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Collection death match, which is fucking nuts. One of the best matches of the weekend, easily. And so it was just so cool to do that, to see him wrestle, to hang out with him a little bit. And then they went over to Melbourne and we're doing that kind of stuff and then catch up with them over there. And he did such good work every single night. Like, there's no half stepping from Neil Diamond Cutter. And
no half fucking measures Neil Diamond Cutter.
Yeah, one of the best. He's like one of the bars in deathmatch wrestling. You don't see like a half-assed match from him. You know what I mean? You only see the best, no matter what he's doing. So, he absolutely killed it.
I mean, that's what people were like to me. They were like, oh, you're bringing Neil Diamond Cutter in. They were like, why are you bringing him in? I was like, because he doesn't have a bad match. I was like, of all these fucking American, I hate to use the words Yankees, but all these Yankees that people bring in, nobody's brought Neil. And I'm like, well, Neil's better than fucking 95% of them. Put him there, he'll steal the show. And he always does.
No matter where he goes,
yep.
You know what I mean? The team's already got him over the second he comes through the fucking, you know.
I did see a video of Joel dancing to fucking Sweet Caroline, so.
Yeah, so Joel Bateman had a few beers in him.
I am shocked.
At Dude Where's My Ring, and he was on Vibe Police. We were getting everybody going, you know. We were up on the stage, and yeah, he was fucking having a dance. We were making sure that the crowd there, that, you know, not the smarkiest crowd or anything, the Dude fans who maybe don't know, understand what's going on, but you start clapping along to Sweet Caroline.
It's a karaoke song.
I'm wondering if at Dream you'll see it, but so there was a error the first time he comes out. They played like another theme or whatever. It's a long story. It doesn't matter, but he comes out later, and so the first time he comes out, it's playing, and I start clapping along with it. And a few people start, and they start to die off. And I don't know if you'll hear me go, "Come on, you fucking Melbourne cunts!" Melbourne don't know how to clap. Like, I was Vibe Police. That
was one thing I was going to look up because I don't know if he's going to be in town or not. But Damien Cowell is playing a live show. I don't know if he's playing in Perth. I don't know if this is going to take it for the podcast or if I'll cut out. But where are we? But yeah, but I mean, for where are we? Damien Cowell. Obviously, Damien Cowell from TISM fame, and you got to see TISM live. You lucky fucking bastards.
You bought the tickets without ever figuring out how you...
No, yeah, the thing is, it's like, I kind of feel... I've done that a couple of times where like I bought tickets for bands and I'm kind of like, fuck it. I don't really mind. But Damien Cowell, who's one of the lead singers of TISM, is doing a show somewhere. Where the fuck is it? It's somewhere. He's playing. Is he playing in Perth? If he's playing in Perth, please go.
I didn't hear about this.
I mean, it's Damien Cowell's Disco Machine, so it's kind of... where is it? Here we go. Damien Cowell.
You've caught yourself. I've never heard this name before. It looked like something I would be interested in.
I mean, Damien Cowell's Disco Machine is just Damien Cowell with other guys. He does his own stuff, which is good and or better than TISM. So, where are we? What day is it today? The 10th. So, they're playing in Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. How close are you to any of those places?
Nowhere near that.
That's obviously say the country, isn't it? Oh, well, that doesn't matter. Whatever. I mean...
thank you. Thanks for looking out.
I was just going to say, yes, he's playing in Melbourne, Sydney and then Brisbane. Oh, well. Anyone that wants to go and see Damien Cowell, just because I want to put him over, because he said I could use one of his songs.
I love this. I'm just looking at the tickets thing and all the explanation of it. It just says... it goes... Who the fuck is Damien Cowell? This is on the event thing. It says Damien Cowell wrote a song called I Was the Guy in TISM.
What a song. I Was the Guy in TISM. Yes. I mean, it's weird because it's like there's been a lot of like music. That's completely off topic anyway. There's been a lot of like music from like TISM and what's that band called, the Chats, and fucking there's some woman, she was like Viagra Boys, what's she called? Blonde hair, shouting something to Pesh, I don't know. Anyway, but like there's there's like a lot of like Australian music that I've somehow like been listening to a lot. What's the name of that fucking band?
It's the chat. Are the chats like on the radio in the UK a lot or something? Because Curtis, my co-host over at Carter Shorts, an American dude who lives in London, was banging on about the chats the other day.
I mean, they might be. I haven't listened to the radio in about 20 years. My TV isn't even tuned in, so I don't fucking listen to stuff like that. I only listen to stuff that music finds me, and then sometimes I'm like, and then every so often it's quite good. So no,
Yeah.
I mean the Chats, their music's very good, but it's very much like, I would hate to call it like the Beatles. The Beatles in the way that their songs are like 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Like if you go and see them live, how long are their fucking shows? What, 25 minutes? You know what I mean? Like how fucking long is a chat? But like this is a completely different scope.
Yeah.
But
Hey, I don't mind that. As we've discussed with wrestling, I'm about a good time, not a long time. Get me in, get me saying it, get me out. That's it.
But then again, but like for yourself, like being in bands and stuff like that, like who knows? But you know.
Who knows?
Oh my god. Anyway, I will have a little bit more of this beer, and then I might talk about some movies if you want to talk about some movies, but entirely up to yourself.
What movies are you ranting on about?
Me. I mean,
I haven't not seen much movies, so unless you want to talk about the Barbie movie, I don't think I can.
Oh I did see the Barbie movie against my will,
Awesome.
and I did think I was like holy fuck, I was like, this is gonna make some money, and it did,
Oh, yeah.
and I was right on that respect. But the same day the Barbie movie came out, a film called Cobweb came out, and you should, everybody who's listening to this, go and fucking see a film called Cobweb, because it's fucking excellent. It's a little fucking horror movie. It's you ever seen that fucking TV show called The Boys?
Yeah.
You know the guy who plays Homelander.
Yeah.
He plays
I
the
like
dad. He plays the dad in Cobweb. So go and watch Cobweb. It's fucking excellent. It's a little creepy horror movie about a kid that gets a little girl that's like banging on his wall, and his dad's the Homelander guy, and he's like, no, he's like he doesn't call him brother, but he's like brother, he's like no, there's nothing there. He's like there's nothing there, and then they can't hide it anymore, and it's I don't want to ruin it, but it's very, very good.
Yeah,
But they released it. They released it the same day as Barbie and Oppenheimer. I was like, for fuck's sake! Like, are you fucking stupid? Like, why on earth would you do that? But it's an amazing, simple little movie. If anybody likes The Simpsons, they will understand the plot within like a heartbeat. But it's a good little film. You should go and watch that.
Yeah, cool. Oh, well, I appreciate the recommendation. I'll keep an eye out for it. I've just added it to my list of movies to watch, but it's nowhere streaming just yet. So I have to see, maybe it's coming on the cinema in Australia soon or something.
What is on your list? Out of curiosity.
It's on what?
I said, what's on your list? Out of curiosity.
On my list at the
Yeah.
moment? Fucking, it's like that. It's a short list. Hang on, what do I have on here? Hang on, I was making.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like, I don't think me and you have like spoken about like movies. I don't know what sort of movies you're into.
You know what this list is at the moment is my wife likes certain types of movies, and when we end up sitting at the couch, we're going to watch something. We want to try and find this particular type of movie, and we never can. So I started to compile a list so we could just have it. And what it is essentially like divorced wife murder mystery.
Well, I am a card carrying member.
Yeah, I love it. Right, we want a Gone Girl. We want something like that. But they can be a hard movie to find. What's he got here?
Columbo. Columbo is the best murder detective mystery show. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Watching, what we started watching yesterday was The Tunnel, which is like a little bit older now, but that's, you know, the one where it's French police, UK police. A body is dumped in the tunnel that runs between the two companies, right on the line between the two, and the
police don't know which the jurisdiction.
The jurisdiction.
Drama!
And so now they've got to work together because half the body is in each thing. And then so goes on the murder mystery, right? So we're like 7 episodes deep in that. They did a USA release called The Bridge, where it's the same thing. It's like America and Mexico. But the second you do that, it's instantly like a cartel thing, and I'm not interested in a cartel thing. I want like a creepy UK serial killer. I don't want like a gang. You know what I'm saying?
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what we're after. We're after UK crimes, and we're after like divorced wife murder fiction.
So it's all murder stuff.
That's what she likes, and so if I want to watch stuff, that's what I have to like. And then I have like a list of like, I don't know, action movies and stuff I'd like to watch that's just in the back of my brain that goes on forever that I'll probably never see. That's kind of how it works.
Fair enough.
You know how it works. Yeah. So, yeah,
but if you're gonna watch fucking English serial killer stuff, watch that Des. The Dennis Nielsen thing.
What's it called?
Des. DES. It's about Dennis Nielsen, the best and most famous Scottish serial killer of all time. Well, I'd say best. People shit me for that. But it's that fucking guy David Tennant who played Doctor Who, and it's him playing like Dennis Nielsen was a Scottish serial killer who killed about, I think, 15 guys, and then murdered them and like kept them in his house and buried them under his floorboards and stuff like that. You get like that. It's like 3 episodes.
Yeah, that's the vibe. We enjoy the crimes and stuff, and we'll quite often enjoy like a UK crime series. Line of Duty is fucking so good, you know, things like that. Anything like that will jump in and usually be about.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's what we like. Give me a UK crime. That's what I like.
UK crime? I mean...
Specifically, I like a British or a Scottish crime. I don't know why.
Scottish crime? There isn't a lot of... There isn't a lot of Scottish crimes, unfortunately. People think it's lovely.
Don't give me a real one. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not pro crime. What I'm saying is I like a police show set in the UK because there's something about the way that you guys put out.
Because everything's horrible. Everything's miserable. Nobody knows what's going on. Yeah.
No, and the cops like normal people, right? They're not carrying guns. They're not fucking movie stars. They're just normal people. If they're faced with a fucking killer, usually they've just got a fucking...
They've always got an alcohol problem, or they've got a divorced wife, or they've always got some sort of bland, boring problem. That's why I like stuff like Columbo and stuff where it's like, I don't care about any of that crap. Like, who cares?
I do like that crap though, because in US everything's shiny, everyone looks great. The cops like, what's that?
They've all got.
He's standing across the hood of his Corvette, like, you know, it's like I'm not.
I will agree with you with that. In America, or maybe in Australia as well, everybody's teeth are far too pretty. Everybody's teeth are far too white, and you're like...
The UK has.
Well, yeah, we know, but like, I'm sitting there looking, and I'm like, this guy's meant to be a fucking like crackhead, and I'm like, his teeth are far too pretty. I don't know, but hey ho.
Yeah, I will say Australia can do a good show. Like we could do like some pretty gritty things.
The best one of the best songs I've ever seen was Australian called The Nightingale. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
That's a fucking excellent movie. But yeah, I mean, Australia's it's not the same as here. It's a lot nicer. There's bigger spiders. There's people like people here. People here move to Australia. I don't want to shit in Australia. I don't want to shit in Australia, but like people here move to Australia and they think it's the best thing. They're like, oh my god, I've done so much better with my life than you guys living in Scotland. You're like, oh, okay.
Can I tell you a story about that? So
Okay.
My dad is Scottish.
Okay.
I would not to speak to him. He's essentially Crocodile Dundee, but he moved to Australia when he was about 10. I think his parents moved him over. Their family did. And my mum's English, and she moved over here, which is, I don't know, 14, 15, something like that. And so Scottish side, English side. In 2013, we went to Europe. One of my best mates got married, went to Europe, did a bit of a travel around Europe, and we went to the UK, and we went to Scotland. So we ended the tour in Scotland. I actually got engaged to my wife on the Isle of Skye.
Oh, I've been there. It's nice.
Stayed in Edinburgh. It's lovely. And so when we were there, I wanted to, when we were driving and going out to Skye, I wanted to go through Greenock, which is where my nana was from. She used to have a sticker on the back of her car that said, "I'm a real Scot from Greenock." You know, always talk about it. And I was like, "Oh, Greenock, I'll go see the family land and I'll see what this is all about." And so they lived in Geraldton, which is a port town here in Double Bay. I go to Greenock, it looked exactly the fucking same as Geraldton.
It's the same thing. Everything's the same.
They literally just picked up and moved to the exact same place on the other side of the world. The only difference is it doesn't rain as much.
Yeah, exactly. All these people are like, all these fucking Irish people are like, oh yeah, Scotland. Ireland and Scotland are the same place, just different accents. And everybody's fucking drunk. And there's heroin addicts everywhere. And it's a different state of affairs.
Same fucking place. This looks exactly the same.
It genuinely is. It's like no one really thinks about that, and all these people like I can't remember who it was. It was the guy that runs Deathmatch Worldwide. What's his name?
Corey.
He messaged me and he was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "I really want to come to Scotland," and he's like, Deathmatch Worldwide. Yeah, exactly. And he was like, "Yeah, I really want to come." I was like, "Man," I was like, "You're like got the fucking worst idea in the world. Like, fuck this place. It's so fucking shit." It's like I don't know. Like I don't know if you watched.
I know where Corey lives, and it fucking sucks.
Like, but if he's living in like bumhole fucking,
when people just shooting guns into the sky,
that's fine.
Because it was like fucking Independence Day, and there's bullets raining on the roof of his house.
I'm happy with that. I'd be happy with that. I mean, I got
come through the door.
I mean, a lot of my dad's ex-wife's friends are like big fucking card-carrying members of the Alex Jones fan club. So I think I'm pretty safe when I go to America. Like I can especially because I've shaved my head all the time. I'm pretty safe. I can go to the deep south. People ain't gonna fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like, if I had
certain areas you still shouldn't go, but
well, yeah, I know, but like, if I had a different skin pigmentation or whatever, I might be like worried. But like, I know like in myself that like my dad's ex-wife and all the people she knows, I'm okay. Nobody's gonna do anything or fuck about with me type thing.
I think like when we went to Vegas, I just stay in the most touristy spots ever. I hate
tourism.
You know what I mean?
I fucking hate tourism with like I've always hated it since my mum moved to her house that she currently lives in. She's like, "Oh yeah, we got a house with a view." You're like, "Fuck you!" Like you've got the fucking no, but like you've got the internet at your fucking fingertips, and you've got a fucking house with a view. Like fuck off. Like I don't know. I find that repugnant, stupid thing to say.
Well, that's what we do in Japan. We go anywhere. We book it all ourselves, and we like just go regional, like into small towns and fucking kept riding the rails and seeing it all. It's like one of my favorite things.
I'm looking. I think I'm gonna go. 2025. I think I'm gonna go to Japan.
Sure.
My mates into all that fucking. No, there's anything wrong with it. If anyone's gonna shout me, into all that like Pokemon, anime, Dragon Ball Z shit. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing. I don't care. Like whatever. But he's into all that crap, like Final Fantasy and all that shit, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I want to go and see motherfucking Matsunaga's Steakhouse and
Yeah.
all that crap. So like we're gonna do it together.
There's heaps of wrestling stuff. Yeah, absolutely. We always have heaps of it. Yeah, you'll have a great time.
I mean, at the same time, like, I've always been the same. I don't give a fuck about tourism or whatever. I genuinely don't. Like, if you're gonna give me like Joel Bateman and Mad Dog, and they were gonna do a show 10 minutes up the road from me, I wouldn't need to go to Australia. I only travel because I can't see things next to my house. That's why I start. That's why I start wrestling promotion, because I fuck it. Bring people to me. That's I don't know, man. Like, I think
I do love travel for wrestling. Like, it's so fun to, like, just with the Dream show, just to get on a plane and zoom over there and go and catch stuff and exist in their city for a couple of days. That's like my favourite shit to do. I love travelling for wrestling. I love going to Japan and seeing wrestling. It was cool. Like I said, I've only been to the US once, but that was super fun. But I don't know if it beats out the likes of Japan for me, for where I want to go. I'll need to come to the UK and see some wrestling.
No, don't. I mean, you're invited. You're invited to the UK. Anytime you want to come to the UK, you're invited.
Oh, thank
you. You can come and stay.
You're going to send me the plane tickets and fly me in to do live commentary, right? So it's going to
Well, hell yeah. I mean, it's the worst place you've ever seen. It's a piece of shit. I like it. No one likes it. Thing is, just like, I remember last year.
Shit, that's what's good about it.
Last year,
when I was in Scotland, I was like, I can feel my fucking ancestors.
Somebody said that to me. Somebody said that. I can't remember who it was. Somebody said that, and I looked at them. I was like, oh my god. I was like, you fucking like joking? And they were like being serious. They were like, oh no, like I can feel like my ancestors, and like I'm like 19% like Scottish, so my ancestor, and I was like.
That is something I've said, but I obviously didn't say it to you because I did make a joke about it. Like when I was on Isle of Skye, I felt like I was in fucking Highlander. Even though I was standing on the hill, I could see the drone shot, of me just like, and the Highlander music playing. So.
But I mean, like Highlander, like wasn't filmed in Scotland, so it was alright.
What?
It was filmed. It was filmed in Ireland. I know we filmed it anyway. but
wreck up my entire studio.
But I remember somebody saying that to me, and they were like, I can really feel like I thought they were doing like I thought they were taking the piss, like they're like, I can really feel it, and like they were, I was like, are they having like a spiritual like experience? I was like, this has to be like a rib. I was like, no one in their right mind. So I'm looking forward to anyone who comes to Scotland, because I will give them a tour of Edinburgh, and I will show them the real side of Edinburgh. And all the fucking crackheads and everybody who's fucking drinking and shooting up heroin and they can't fucking see and they're all drinking Iron Brew at their shoes and everything. It's fine. I'll do that.
Remind me not to take that tour.
But like it was obviously there's the Fringe Festival, which is in Edinburgh every August.
So when we were over there, it was Fringe.
Which is the worst thing in the world. If anyone who has any semblance of art or artistic temperament, fuck the Fringe. It's the biggest waste of time ever. But last year in Edinburgh, all the council who empty all the bins went on strike, and all the bins were overflowing for the whole month. And there was like homeless people like fighting foxes, and it was fucking awesome. I genuinely I made like a I'm not made it yet, but like I made like a calendar of like all these bins overflowing, and like seagulls are like fighting people in the street and shit. And I was like, this is it. I was like, this is your culture hub of Edinburgh. It was fucking great. It was so like the fucking I don't know what the word for it is, like ironic, I suppose, like how bad everything was. And there was like foxes and people were like shitting in the street and shit, and you're like all these tourists are like stepping over homeless people to like take pictures of shit. I was like, this is great. I wish I had done a show last year and made a fucking show called Fuck the Fringe, because I would have done that as well. Like, it was so funny, like how bad it was. It was awesome. It was awesome. But not
Didn't
now.
they like put the trains on strike the same, like on that public holiday when All In was on? Like, so they've got all these people out for the biggest show fucking ever, and nobody can use a train.
Fantastic, fantastic. I love that. Great. Fuck it. I love something that just throws a fucking span in the works of like normal life. Fuck them. Fucking
Such
do
a
it.
bad taste.
Yeah, fuck them. Like I remember that, like All In, they were like, oh yeah, the trains have all been cancelled. I was fucking pissing myself laughing. I was like, this is great. I had to go home, obviously, but I was like, this is funny. Like, that's a good thing to do, to like show your government or your country, give us a fucking pay rise, because we're gonna fuck everything up. If you're not gonna do it purposely, then like, what's the point? Like, I mean, there was a time where like everybody used to strike, train strikes every Sunday, and I was like, Sunday? Strike on a Monday morning. Strike every Monday morning, and then you'll get people notice. Who gives a fuck about a Sunday? So I don't know.
Yeah. Oh mate, it is cooked. It sounds like it's cooked.
But anyway, it's been a pleasure to speak to yourself as well.
It's always a pleasure. Absolutely, this has been fun. My face is hurting from laughing. So.
I've been a lot more sober this time. I've not been 100% sober, but hey. But
exactly, it's too early for me. I'm not drinking, so we kept somewhat on track. I was
so good. But pleasure as always, and it'll be good for us to do the show.
Yes, I'm very excited.
And I am.
We're doing that. That's on. We've confirmed that. We're going to do this. We're going to get on the fucking thing. We're going to do the show, and we're going to do some commentary.
Yep. Have a couple of beers.
I'm honored, man. I'm very excited to.
I'm excited. I'm excited to fucking finish that show. Sit down.
Yeah.
Tell everybody around me to fuck off. I'll have a cigarette and I'll have a beer and I'll go. I'll be fine. Yeah. So
room's clean. Everything's gone. Everyone's sorted. Everyone's alive and healthy, and you can be like
all these stupid English cunts are off to this torture garden. I never told you about that.
No?
There's a thing called the torture garden, which is 10 minutes away from the venue. Everybody hate me for telling you this, but all the boys are going to go to the torture garden, which is like a sort of like S&M sexual thing. But it's like 10 minutes. It's like 10 minutes away from the show.
Section room.
No, I mean it's at the caves, but I've tried like a dog to try and get them to like some sort of ticket thing. But all the guys are gonna go and do all that crap, so fuck them.
Yeah.
I won't be going to that. I'm a happily engaged man, so fuck it.
Absolutely.
But hell yeah, but me and you'll do that, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And it'll be the first time of me actually seeing the show.
Yeah, exactly. You get to watch it back or whatever. Do you know what sort of? I suppose you won't know until it's filmed and edited and things like that, like what the turnaround will be. But yeah, for anybody listening, we're gonna do the commentary for the Bleeding Gum show, which is gonna be super fun.
And it'll be me that's editing it, and it'll be me that's editing it. So that'll be fine.
Oh, you're gonna edit it
yeah, I'll be editing everything. So it's basically, I think that for yourselves or whatever, Do Bears My Ring or DMDU or whatever, I think that I might be one of the only people that does everything myself.
Yeah.
I do everything.
Yeah.
Like I literally do everything on my own, so it'll be nice to have somebody there to like actually like.
Yeah. Well, at least you'll have full control yourself, and like you say, you can finish the show. You can take a week. You can take multiple weeks. As long as you need to work your way through it, have all the shots be what you want it to be, and then once it's all finished, we can sit down with a couple of beers and stream it together and talk some shit. It'll be fun.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, hopefully be in the next couple of days, because I'll be ready to fucking edit the day it's done. I'll be wanting to get it done, but hey ho. Anyway, it's been a pleasure as always.
Always a pleasure. Absolutely. Please, everybody, make sure you check out, if you're into the deathmatch stuff and want to check out the stuff, check out Dude Where's My Ring. on YouTube. You can see our 4 shows are up for free. The 5th show featuring Neil Diamond Cutter and Clint Margera will be up very soon. I don't know how soon. Reese has been under it in getting across because he also did camera work for Dream as well. So he'll be getting that out. So that'll be cool. So Dude, Where's My Ring coming? And then, while I'm on a plug, check out At Faces Feels Cast, which is my social media for Faces and Feels Pro Wrestling Podcast, where I interview wrestlers from around the world, most of which are deathmatch wrestlers. And I have a very exciting interview coming soon. I may as well just say, I'll break it here.
Do it.
Out loud. But my next interview is with the one and only deathmatch artist and legend, Sei Ozawa.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a great chat. I met Sei when we were last in Japan. He's actually pretty good at English when you're in person, but he said that's because he had a few beers. And so I got a translator through a mutual friend, Yuki Kasai Pare, to get on the line with us and bridge that gap, and did a full podcast interview with Sei. So I'm still editing that now. We've been very busy, but I'm going to get that out in the next week or so. Very excited to release that and see what everybody thinks, because I think it's probably English interview.
I'll quickly interject. Don't mean to cut you off, but Sei Ozawa, if you are a deathmatch fan or if you're a deathmatch wrestler, Sei Ozawa is the god of wrestling merchandise. He is the best, and if anybody says otherwise, they can fuck off. He is. There has not been, even when it was like fucking what, 2012. There was like Defend Deathmatch Wrestling was on fucking Facebook. I've still got that T-shirt in my thing. Sei Ozawa has done the best. It's done more for like deathmatch wrestling than anyone really. Like he has kept the merchandise shit alive. So that'll be awesome. Anyway, carry on.
I would absolutely agree. He's a lovely man, and I'm really excited to share his story with the English speaking audience, which I think is really cool. He's never done that before.
That's insane.
And it was just because, we became buds that he was willing to do it and trust me to put it out and to do a good job. So
first time ever.
Really, first time ever.
That is the best thing to do for anything. It's first time ever. Everything's first time ever. Yeah. Every time.
Everything's first time.
Yeah, it has to be though.
It's all you and I do is first time ever.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, but like,
Exactly.
Sei Ozawa, man, that's insane.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So keep an eye out, as I said, at Faces Feels Cast. Subscribe to the show, check it all out, and that's me, man. So I want to thank you for having me on. I'm super pumped to have a chat to you. Super pumped to finally see the Bleeding Gums show once it drops. I think that's going to be so fucking cool. And I just love seeing Deathmatch continue to grow. Like you said at the very start of this interview, how much stuff has changed in a year since we last spoke face to face. So
me and you love deathmatch wrestling, and me and you live on fucking opposite sides of the fucking planet, and we both give a fuck about deathmatch wrestling, which is why I like speaking to yourself, because we both fucking care, and that's the main thing. Is I love people who care about deathmatch wrestling. Like I've said this countless times to anybody. I've said this in this interview. I hate wrestling. but I hate wrestling, but I love deathmatch wrestling. I think there's a very big distinction of the two, so it's been a pleasure as always. Anyway.
Of course, absolutely. And lastly, very last thing before I go, last shout out, as we were saying, shout out to Corey at Deathmatch Worldwide. He's been doing it pretty tough, man. He's had like a lot going on, like with his family and different things like that. So get on there, buy a shirt, be patient. Support the man. He's a great dude, and he's dealt with more than what a lot of people should have to deal with in recent things. So shout out to Corey, and RIP SPO, very close friend of mine who we lost recently.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot. I mean, if you're still wanting to talk about that, RIP SPO 100%. The Terry Funk shit that happened, like.
Yeah, there's been way too many deaths recently. Not to take us on a downturn.
No, I know. I mean, I was.
I just had to do a quick shout out to.
I mean,
and
I cut you off around. If you want to stay on for like 5 more minutes, like I remember Terry Funk anyway.
Yeah.
And my email address. I mean, shit. I don't care. If somebody's got fucking email, what are they gonna email me? I don't care. Anyway, my email address is safunkbu, SAFUNKBU, and that has been my email address since 1998. That has always been my email address, and I've kept that email address on fucking AOL. Because of that Terry Funk Sabu match. So, it's like things like that and SPO and then fucking Bray Wyatt, which I thought that All In thing really made me angry when people were like walking around in that and they were like putting their phone light. I was like, fuck you people. Like, I mean, I think in there, I don't know if I'm shouting at too many people, but like, they think that that's them paying tribute, putting their phones up. Like, fuck off. Like, the whole arena should have been completely black. That would have been a tribute. If the whole place had been completely black.
Not do the gimmick.
No! Because it's embarrassing. Because you shouldn't be doing that with your fucking phone. It's the same with these people that go to all these gigs and they're fucking watching their favourite band and they're filming it on their phones. Put your fucking phone away. Don't have anything. Completely leave it black and it'll be fine. But the same thing with SPO and everything. Like, it's sad that you get to see all these people that like you've watched and even spoken to. Even SPO, I spoke to SPO before. I mean, you did an interview with them. It's fucking sad, man.
We used to, I did a few interviews with him and would speak to him all the time. You know, shoot around messages and stuff like that. It was really hard news to take. You know, and yeah, I think about him a lot. You know, he was a really good friend, and to just lose him so senselessly, like out of nowhere, is just still fucking unbelievable.
Yep.
You know, so I dedicate every show in my show notes and everything is always dedicated to him because he was one of the really early people to reach out to me and want to work together and stuff like that, and he was so supportive of his friends, man. So I just wanted to give a shout out on this platform to him because I miss him dearly.
And he was one of the few people as well that was good. He was a great referee. And I remember speaking to Danny Demanto at the fucking ICW UK shows or whatever and saying like, yeah, where's fucking SPO? But like, yeah, he was great. He actually got it. There's not a lot of, I would say, Scott, who's the UK guy who might even watch this, but he's the best UK referee. But like, SPO was a deathmatch referee. He got it. He understood what a deathmatch was, and he kept exactly. He kept everybody safe, and he kept everybody so R.I.P. to SPO, 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
No worries, man. Anyway, take it easy and enjoy your afternoon.
Day, 8:50 a.m. So
is it?
I'll go back to sleep. We will see. It is a Sunday, so.
Oh God! Oh yes, Sunday night. Fucking hell.
Yeah, maybe I'll just lay around and then I'll watch some UK crime. I'll watch the tunnel. All right.
No worries, man. I'll see you later, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, man.
Always. No worries. We'll talk soon, and good luck with everything putting together the show. Yeah.
Thank you, man. See you later.
Awesome. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye bye.